Welcome to Money News on Newsmax TV. I'm John Bachman. With me now is David Nelson from New York City via Skype. He is the senior analyst for Money News, also a Money News anchor. David, thanks for being with us.
Thanks for having me, John.
All right, so we're seeing some uncertainty, I think we can say with some certainty in the markets. And a lot of that, I believe, has to do with the fact that nothing has really changed in Washington. Have you ever witnessed a time period where Washington has had such a dramatic impact? And I'm talking about all these things together, including the debt ceiling negotiations in 2011, where Washington has had such an impact on Wall Street.
You know, I've been doing this for about 20 years, John, and I'd have to say no to that. And you're right. You know, the sell-off this week, post the election has been pretty dramatic. And I think what investors are really starting to grapple with is nothing's really changed. Things are really as they were the day before the election. President Obama is still the president. The Democrats control the Senate, and the Republicans control the House. And they all seem to have their heels dug in. I'm not hearing any change in the rhetoric. Everybody seems to be, talking like it was the day before the election. And I think investors are starting to get concerned that there won't be some sort of deal on the fiscal cliff prior to the end of the year.
Now, we know that the MO of Washington, they're almost certainly going to wait until the absolute very last minute to get something done here. What are the opportunities for investors, and what do they need to be wary of?
I think what they need to be wary of, one of the things is dividend stocks, which have been really, the anchor of the market for the last several years. They're under pressure, and as a matter of fact, as I'm speaking right now, utilities are probably the worst performing sector today. Again, they have been most of the week, and it's simply because of the likelihood of an increase in the dividend tax rate. And it makes things like utilities just not as attractive as they once were. I think in terms of the, coming to, some sort of resolution regarding the fiscal cliff, I think it's political suicide for Congress and the Senate, and including the president, to not come up with a deal. So I'm pretty confident there will be a deal.
Who do you think has more leverage here, in your opinion, the president or Congress, specifically the Republicans in Congress? Both seem willing to take this to the last minute, as you talked about. Both sides seem to be digging in their heels after some early moments of flexibility. But in your opinion, who do you think has more of the leverage?
Well, you have to give it to the president right now. He won the election, and I saw the Speaker of the House. I saw John Boehner's comments. I believe they were yesterday, and his language was pretty much the same, except it was a little bit more conciliatory. It looked like he was holding out an olive branch. It wasn't much of an olive branch, but it looked like for the first time they were willing to accept some sort of revenue increase, something possibly beyond just tax reform.
Yeah, everyone seems to know where the flexibility is on this. They want to see the president and Democrats compromise on entitlements. Democrats want to see Republicans compromise on revenues. Still a long way apart, so that negotiation will continue. I also want to talk to you real quick while I have you about earnings. Qualcomm and Disney both recently reported to, again, mixed reviews. What's the takeaway from the earnings picture at this point?
It's exactly that. You have the word exactly right. It is mixed. We are seeing some companies, do quite well. Qualcomm's earnings were stellar, and the stock reflected that yesterday. They reported 2 nights ago. Walt Disney, on the other hand, which is probably a better barometer for the overall economy because of all the businesses that they're in, was rather mixed. It was, I would call it at best an inline quarter, maybe a slight miss. But overall, you could see their margins were being pressured and their operating income was less than expected. There were some stellar parts of this earnings report that did quite well, but overall, it's a disappointment, as we can obviously see today. The stock's down sharply.
Again, adding to a lot of the uncertainty out there are these mixed earnings reports. I also want to talk about one more stock, Apple, taking a little hit recently. Is this a good time to buy Apple? Should we wait to see more of a bottom here? Or is this a new normal for Apple without the leadership of Steve Jobs?
You're being a little kind. The stock's down from 705. It's down, well over 150. Well over 150 points. It's seeing some signs of strength, at least early going today. This is the first day that in a while that it's actually tried to put in a bottom. The estimates have been coming down pretty sharply for the company. And frankly, I would have to say it's been a weak product cycle. This time. I think the iPhone 5 was a disappointment, and it looks like what they've decided to do is make very small incremental changes to the phone. And for a lot of people out there who have phones like myself, I tried the phone. It's a great, great phone. It's probably the best phone out there, but it's not enough of a change for me to go out and buy one. So that's a lost sale for them.
Yeah.
So
I'm still waiting for mine to get here. Should be here very soon. So don't take away. Don't pour too much cold water on that for me. We also saw something interesting with Apple. Very few people waiting in line, as we've seen with other product launches for the new iPad Mini. Something to take away from there in terms of what to expect from the stock price. We didn't see the enthusiasm for that product.
Yeah, this is still a great company, and while this is a stumble for Apple, I'm sure they're going to come through it. But you're right, there is no lines. I used to get like pictures from clients and friends of them standing online and how excited they were. I'm not getting that this time. I don't have any pictures of anybody online.
All right, so we'll see what's going to happen with Apple. Let's talk about commodities before we let you go. Gold and oil both flat for the moment. This, I guess, would be an indicator of slowing, again, global economy, fears in Europe and Greece as well.
The oil being flat, it makes sense. What's surprising is that gold hasn't had more of a run, especially with the president winning re-election. It looks like quantitative easing policies are going to continue, and yet gold has struggled. It's still considered a safe haven, but it is certainly struggling.
Yeah, maybe more of an opportunity in silver, some people would like to say.
Yeah, you'll have to talk to one of your gold and silver guys on that. That's not my best call.
I can only tell you what I've heard. I'm not the expert here. I'll leave that for you. David Nelson, thanks so much for talking to us today. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, John. Thank you very much.